just in the fact that I was explaining to you how I've now had one child go through the program and I've had another one go just through the regular kindergarten without the reading program, and I feel like the reading program, it makes a huge difference in the fact that it put Brody ahead of his class. In first grade, he's one of the top readers, and it makes sense to him, and things flow, and it's logical. And I've watched now with the kindergarten class that my daughter's going through and how she's struggling and things are not flowing, they're not making sense to her, and I really think that there's logic behind what you've put together, and just the fact that the kids understand it and it makes sense.
What do you don't think it's just the difference in children then?
No, I don't. I really think it has I really think it's the program, because what she's grasping and what she's doing is completely different. The way that the teacher's presenting it, I guess I should say, is confusing to her. So it's more tongue twisted, and it's all over the place.
So what do you mean by all over the place? Because that's I think that too. But
well, they jump around. So in yours, you build on things. So each thing builds. Like they start out with their letters and their sounds, and they're blending. They go to their 2-letter words. They go to the IGHT. They learn all their sight words in between all of that. So by the end of the year, they've gone from reading 1 or 2 words to sentences to whole paragraph on their homework sheets. You know, so it's constantly building on one thing after another. Whereas what she's doing right now are nonsense words, and they started them with just their sight words, where they had to memorize their sight words, but then she's also got them now to where they're reading these books, and the books that they're reading are confusing because if you don't have the basic fundamentals of blending and the sights and sounds of what letters make, it's really hard for a child to sit down and be able to put all of that together and form a word for it to make sense to them. And she struggles with that because she'll look at a word and she tries to make the sounds, but then the word doesn't make sense to her and trying to put those word sounds together. So I know when I started it with Brody and going from, you know, the sounds and stuff, things just logically made sense to him, and he was able just to continue to move on to now where he will look at a word and pick it apart based on, you know, the IGHT or the TH sound or the vowel that's in there. You know, he'll look at a word and say, oh, Mom, look, that's got the IGHT in it. That makes the ite sound, you know. So he's able to pick apart words that were in that program that totally makes sense to him. So I think it just sets him up for later, you know. I'm like, their whole education is based on reading, and I think it just sets them up for life to be able to do that. Anyway, I've spent the past, you know, I spent the past 6 months, you know, because she was at a certain point. I started it with her in the beginning of the year, and then her teacher was doing a completely different program, and trying to do that with her plus what her teacher was sending home was too difficult. And so I kind of backed off and thought I'll just wait and see, you know, if she gets what her teacher's explaining to her and let her kind of go that direction. And she regressed to the point where it's taken me 6 months to get her back to where she was when she left preschool and started kindergarten. And it's just been the last month that she's started to really start to pick things up again. Like, I've noticed things are starting to click again, and she's moving forward, you know, but she's not where I want her to be. So, okay. After going through the program and then, you know, and looking at it and stuff, I would purchase it just because I think it gives kids a head start on their reading. And I'm more of a pro advocate in being involved in my child's education, you know, versus letting the teacher be the one solely responsible for making sure that they're taught everything they need to. So I kind of take a step on my own just to make sure that if they're not getting what they need at school, then I'm, you know, supplementing or I'm emphasizing that at home. And I think this is the perfect way to be able to do that. You know, it gives you the whole program to be able to sit with your child and do one-on-one, and it's laid out for you. So it's not something you're having to come up with on your own. Plus, I think it sets them up as far as being able to read. By the time they get to first grade, they're right where they need to be level-wise. They should be able to go right in and be able to pick up and just take off. You know, which is what I saw with my son, you know, going from kindergarten, ending the kindergarten year, and then going into first grade. He was above all the other kids and has just completely sailed through, you know, and is now one of the top readers. So I really strongly believe in that, just because watching him, I think there's some good in that.